Hello, everyone. My name is Jeannie Dave. I'm CEO and co-founder at Stobox, and we continue our series of explanatory videos of what Stobox does and what are the principles of tokenization, security token offerings, and how we fit into the market of Web3, as well as how we leverage those technologies of tokenization of the blockchain, of the Web3 technologies for regular businesses, how regular businesses benefit from this. And this is my third video. The first two were more on the actual what Stobox does and more about our primary product, DS Dashboard, Digital Securities Dashboard. And today I will speak more about the next step, which is a secondary market for security token. So let's start. As I have already mentioned in my earlier videos, that we focus on the tokenization of private securities. So that's a private businesses like a real estate, like a small company, like small and medium-sized enterprise, SMEs. So most of the companies in the world are privately held companies. And for those, usually there's certain and the number of constraints for the secondary market because private companies are not freely traded as for example public companies are. And we all know that public companies are companies that are traded on the security security markets, on the stock exchanges, like Nasdaq, like London Stock Exchange, or even they're already centralized exchanges for security tokens, like for example INX and so. But one of the main points is that your company has to be a public company to be traded. And that's a great barrier for most of the businesses from the cost perspective and from the operational ways perspective, because when your company is public, you have a certain burden and a certain amounts of liabilities, a number of liabilities, including substantial costs of running the business. So most of the businesses find going public not feasible for themselves and stay in the private hands. And one of the issues of a company being private is the lack of secondary trading. There are certain markets where the private companies at certain stages can be tradable via professional financial players like brokers and stuff, but usually it's a bit complicated for regular businesses. So the concept of tokenization and of security token offering is the concept of basically securitizing your asset, like a real estate asset, and then tokenize it, which means that you instead of a one big company, you divide it into millions of security tokens, make sure they're compliant, and of course this token can be somehow traded between the parties, between your investors. So the question is how. And Stobox answers that question with a product called DS Swap. Let me mention that it's a unique DeFi. And why DeFi? Because it's decentralized finance. So Stobox is just the technology provider. We don't run the business of security exchange. We don't physically exchange those securities. This is a concept of automated market making, or the concept of liquidity pools. In my videos, I will explain more on how this works. But just on the glance, let's look at it as a DeFi solution. It's a liquidity solution for security tokens and crypto assets. And DS Swap provides security token issuers. This is a solution to manage liquidity pools and automated market making functionality. So in other words, we make trading of security tokens possible via decentralized technologies that we develop. And the primary and the first main concept that is important is the trading is being done in accordance with international regulations and compliance procedures. So it's a very important because unlike most of the DEXs, decentralized exchanges in the world that are focused on the crypto tokens, cryptocurrency tokens, utility tokens, there is a certain regulation on how security tokens could be or should be traded. And all this on these nuances of the secondary trading of security tokens have been embedded into our technology and hasn't been embedded into our product. Very important point is for most of the businesses, it's critical to have a zero fee swaps. Why? Again, most of the security and most of these decentralized exchanges, they offer an incentive for what's called liquidity providers. So if you hold security tokens and you hold, let's say, stable coins, you can create a pair, and usually DEXs offer an incentive of a certain percentage from every trade to this person or to the liquidity provider, which in case of security token can be a very shady road, because if you is a business of, let's say, real estate or hotel management or wherever, like you SME, doing your own business, and then you start collecting fees from security token swaps, then you are no longer only a businessman in your field, but you're also a financial service provider, and you benefit from the security token swaps, and you take a commission. And this can be or is a subject to numerous regulations in different countries. I'm not going to explain in what countries and how we have this information, but it's very important that companies that are not financial, that do not have financial licenses or certain licenses, cannot take commissions from the security token pools. And on the other hand, if you are a broker dealer, for example, and you have certain license, you can impose any commission with DS Swap and benefit from providing liquidity. So again, it's a very custom functionality, and we can provide a custom commissions for issuers. And very important point is not just the swap that is somewhere exists, but it's already embedded and integrated into our SaaS solution, into the DS or digital securities dashboard. And when our clients successfully fundraise on the primary issuance, on the STO phase, then they move to the secondary market with DS dashboard, and that move obviously is done with the support of Stobox DS dashboard. The next slide, let me just give you a brief understanding, a brief outlook of what are the potential options for the secondary trading. And the first and kind of very easy to understand, it's a peer-to-peer transfer. So if I have bought security tokens, excuse me, of a particular hotel business, real estate, anyway, and I would like to sell it, or I would like to give it to another person, like a regular investor, a person can pass KYC in the dashboard, and I will be able to transfer my security tokens to the person's third-person account or digital wallet or blockchain wallet. It's a default functionality. These peer-to-peer transfers. Uh, they also provide mm, more kind of free transfer of private securities, but it's only peer-to-peer. The second option is a bulletin board. It's a bit outdated technology. It's a classical bulletin board where a person says, I would like to buy, or somebody says, I would like to sell, and they've been given a special room where they communicate, discuss the pricing. Again, it's a bit outdated technology, but some of our clients find it very useful. This part of the functionality has not been yet developed, only due to the reason that there is a low demand for this, even though we recognize it as the option for security for the secondary trading. The next one, as I've already mentioned before, it's the centralized exchange. We have potential integration to centralized exchange, but it's not realized at the moment. Why? Because we don't have customers that are seeking issuing and listing on the centralized exchanges. Why? Because one of the main, as I say, one of the main constraints is that a company has to be public. And if a company is public, then it's an absolutely different story for management of this company. And usually Stobox do not focus on that kind of clients. We mostly focus on the real estate tokenization, the private securities, private markets, and if a business would like to go further and become public, obviously Stobox could be of great value here as well. But we do not run centralized exchanges. We don't have license for that, and we don't actually plan to. But what we plan to do, and what we already did, and what we're doing, is that we're creating a venue for the secondary market, decentralized secondary market of security tokens. And again, because it's a technology and we're a technology provider, uh, we do not need to obtain any additional licenses for that. It's absolutely compliant the way it operates, and uh, I will not speak about the pricing model, even though you can pause and have a look at this. This is that has to be explained by our sales team. Anyway, there is a differentiation between the listing of security tokens without the commission or utility tokens, which we also are compatible to. Uh, the dashboard, again, there's on the right, you can see a list of the clients that have already engaged. They are at the final stage of their security token offering and prior to the listing of in DS Swap. Just to mention a couple of things that we have the ability to integrate with any verification provider, KYC. We have selected several of those, but again, that some customers prefer to have their own identity verification providers, which is not a problem. There's something about BTC addresses compatibility. I will not speak about that. It's kind of simple. We have a fiat integration kind of ready to go. It's in the process of development at the moment, and we are working on the dividends distribution. So, of course, some of the tokens, security tokens, pay dividends, and that's why they're securities. And for these dividends, a company has to have a special functionality for that. So instead of paying every customer, every investor its own dividend by a dedicated payment, that is called a mass payment. So it is a automatic distribution of dividends using stable coins. So you use stable coins to automatically distribute the dividends within one click to all of your investors, which actually saves a lot of time and a lot of money on that procedures. Uh, okay, so that's something about safety and the top priority. But We focus on the audits and the health checks. Our software goes through the internal and external audits. We work at the compliance on the compliance side as well as the support. So let me move to the product itself and show you a bit of how it works now. So if you're familiar with the concept of decentralized exchanges, you would find this UX familiar. Of course, we did it in the traditions of decentralized swaps. So people kind of recognize this UXs, and it's kind of simple. So what we have here is we have a differentiation between security tokens, and again, this is our first client already listed, Launcher. You may have seen the logos before. So their company has a liquidity pool, and this privately owned security tokens are freely traded. We can see that some trades have been done 11 hours, 22 hours, and so on. Different addresses, all this. You can't see here who trades what, who makes the trades. You just see the wallet. But the issuer, the launcher itself, obviously has that data. The launcher is able to manage and allow this transaction to happen, or at the same time, they may block this transaction. Again, think of there were 4 transactions of private securities within the last 24 hours, and it's absolutely done without uh, without participation of the issuer. So once the security tokens are listed, anyone who has rights, who has permissions, who have legal rights to do so, which are managed in the dashboards, they can easily buy and sell and manage uh, their positions. So we have security tokens, we have security token pools. This is exactly the liquidity pairs that have been created. We also have digital assets. There's a list of digital assets. In the case of Landshare, they also have their utility token. We can see the price change. Very important aspect to mention is that security tokens are considered to be a good hedges against crypto because they are asset backed. If a crypto market has turbulence and we see reds on every candle, we have an option, and the option is invest into security tokens. Because in this specific case, in the case of Landshare, it's backed by the real physical building, which which is in US. I don't remember exactly what city is it in, but that's basically a street and the number of the physical location, and this is the real estate token. So you can buy it and you can hedge against certain inflation. You can hedge against the turbulence and the roller coaster of the crypto market. We have digital asset pools. It's very simple as anyone who has certain rights can select a security token. We can see that at some point it spiked. Uh, we see that there is a restriction. So I should connect my wallet, but before I do so, I should recognize that this is a security token and I'm not authorized unless the launcher issuer permits my address, permits Ginny to do so. And we have done it in a bit sophisticated manner where we count not just the ability or the permission of the investor to secondary trade, but also trade within certain amount limits and trade limits. So if you're a business owner, you don't want to freely allow anybody or your investors to trade your stocks, trade your securities tokens unlimited, because you would like uh, kind of segregate and make sure that you control the secondary trading rather than not control it. It depends on the business, but this is why we have implemented for the numerous cases that we have analyzed, that have we are launching, we see that this functionality is critical. So you as an issuer is able um, to control the security token amount as well as the amount of the trade. Uh, there's some points about the liquidity and so on, but it's not important at this stage. The product is live. It's public. Anyone can go into the DSSwap.io and see how it works. And DS Swap, or secondary trading, is basically the fourth step of security token offering. So we start with consulting. It's a very important step because most of the businesses have no idea how to implement those things, like tokenization or security tokens. So you start with understanding and answering all the questions. This is exactly where Stobox comes in. The second part is legal part. And depending upon the answers from the consulting stage, we have now more answers on how to frame it legally. And usually, if the consulting stage may take up to 1 month, which is like from 3 to 5 weeks, legal stage may take up to 2 months if it does not require regulatory approval. Because some of our customers, some of our issuers would like to get regulatory approvals of their prospectus, let's say from SEC or from UK regulator or from in respect to MiFID. So there's a different regulators, MAS in the case of Singapore and so on. So if we're not, and you not necessarily have to go through a regulators. There's a lot of nuances on how to avoid registering your prospectus with the regulator. At the same time, permit and allowed to do the security token offering. So we know all these nuances. We can guide you through, but it may take up to 2 months for the legal preparation. The third is the dashboard itself, where the company issues security tokens, manages their primary offering, manages their investors, puts the limits, manages the relationship, corporate governance, limits, and so on. And the fourth, and I would say very important, very, very important step. And this is one of the steps that investors most love, is the ability of easily buy an asset of your real estate, of your any asset-backed company. They buy the asset in an Android or in their Mac, and then they hold it. They can expect dividends if your security tokens pay dividends, but they hedge, and the ability of selling the security tokens anytime is something that gives them an additional power, which they usually don't have in a traditional business. Traditional business like investing into private companies with the paper securities, which is a bit a legacy concept. So thank you very much. Now you probably know more about how the security token offerings can be structured, what are the flows, what are the Stobox main focuses, how our products work in this case. Thank you very much. We will continue our discussions, our speeches on the best practices and so on. If you have any questions, please contact us, become a part of our community. We will be having a number of extraordinary, amazing projects that are being tokenized. And this is a real estate from United States. This is a very interesting concepts from EU in respect to machinery. There is a set of companies that are doing absolutely amazing mining technologies based on solar plants. So there's a lot of new businesses that instead of going to traditional kind of banking way of fundraising, which may be very difficult at this moment, or very costly at this moment. If a company has a great business model, if a company has a great potential, you should consider security token offering as your primary kind of management tool for investors. And of course, we're building the investors database. We have the list of the public investors, of accredited investors, but meanwhile we progress and provide our technology to more companies. More and more people will learn about the benefits of owning a security token rather than a paper contract. So thank you very much and stay with Stobox. Bye.